participating. So we have 6 people online.
Yes, sir. We are live. Please start.
Okay. Good evening and welcome back, everyone. It's great to be back with you, and I really look forward to live sessions because it's the closest equivalent of watching you live or speaking to you live and answering your questions. Usually in our course, we have 3 live sessions. One was last week, that is to just get warmed up to the idea of online courses and that we are not in the same classroom. Okay. During this last 18 months, we were never in the same classroom anyway in any college or school. So NPTEL, that way we were always ahead of time, so to speak. So I'm very happy to be here. And with me, I have our trusted friend, Siddharth. Say hello, Siddharth.
Hi all, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to our second live session on design thinking. Very similar to our previous live session, we will post out your questions you put on the Google form or our discussion forum, and we will have Professor Bala answer them for you. So over to you, Bala, sir.
Okay, thanks, Siddharth. So as always, Siddharth will be our anchor, so to speak, and he will project the questions. And I will try my best to answer those questions as best as I can. What I noticed this time is some of the questions that every one of you have been asking in the forum have been really intriguing. Some of them on emotional stuff, on empathize, on personas, on and in application level questions. I'm really happy that you're thinking applications, because that's the one thing that we can't emphasize enough. Siddharth and I strongly believe in the fact that design thinking is learned primarily through application in a project, in a field that you care about. You want some change to be done, and that's we have found in our own ways to be one of the best ways to learn and retain design thinking concepts. Okay. With that, I'll throw the floor open to Siddharth, and he will lead us through what the questions are that you guys have.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bala, sir. Moving on to our first question of the day, comes from Govind, and he asks, I want to pursue my career in design thinking area. Provide solutions that touch human life, potentially beyond current automotive field. Need guidance, how to meet those aspirations.
Amazing. Thank you, Govind, for that very inspirational, aspirational question. We are very happy indeed that you have decided to pursue your career in design thinking. Okay, that's amazing. I remember my college days, I probably didn't even think of design or anything as a career. So you're so well informed that you're thinking about this. And I suppose you are currently in automotive field, and so you're thinking beyond that. Excellent. And also, I'm going to borrow one more phrase from your question, is touching human lives. That's where I will start my response to what you asked. I think one of the key things, and this is going to be, I mean, we have repeated this over and over in our videos, in our live sessions, in our discussion forums as well, is the human centricity of design thinking itself, right? So whenever we think of the person who is using our output, which could be in the form of a product or a service, whether it is a startup, a large company, a medium-sized company, an academic organization, any organization we are in, or we are even students, our output goes to somebody else who is going to take it and use it. Now think of them as your customer. Okay, very simple example. As a student, you would think of your teacher as, let's say you think of your teacher as your customer, right? So if you write answers all over the place, she's not going to be able to understand, right? So that's very simple example. Now let's go to the particular question, is beyond automotive field, right? So let's take even automotive field. It's vast enough to realize your potential and your aspiration, I suppose. This is my opinion. Is in automotive field, the major function of this field is to transport human beings and whatever they want from one place to another. Okay, think of it very simply. Now, how is it that we can improve this experience for people? How is it that we can make their life better, look at it from their own perspective, and see what is it that we can now change or bring about a change. Okay, so to me, the thinking, the spirit is far more important than the field in which it is applied, right? So when we think and put ourselves, and there are many ways to do that, and we've seen that in our videos also. One of them we often say is the tool called customer journey mapping, but it's about you visualizing and as if you are the person who's using the product or service and going, you can vroom on a highway, or you can be stuck in a traffic jam, or you can be transporting a heavy load of stuff, or you can think of many such scenarios. So the idea is to think of as many stories, as many scenarios as possible, and seeing what are the potential difficulties that they're going through, and then making even tiny changes that will bring about a change in their life goes a long way. Just remember this and we are good to go. Automotive, IT, teaching, it doesn't matter. Or even if you're writing a novel, the same thing. You want to give the person who's reading, you want to make the person's life better than it was before. So that's going to be our primary focus in design thinking. In terms of choosing this as a career, there are many ways you can express yourself in the form of an improved product if it is already there, or a new product if it is not there, an improved service if the service is already there, and a completely new service and bring about this change. So keep that in mind, and you're ready to go. Touch human lives, as many lives as you can. Okay, start simple, expand, and you will be good to go. Okay, so that's my trial. If we have more follow-up questions on this, you want to know more, we'll be happy to answer that in the forum.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your interest in pursuing the career in design thinking. Our next question comes from Mr. Bhaskar. He asks, when persona of the user is created, you have taken basic demographic information only. Will it be enough to understand a user and build products and solutions?
Interesting question. Thank you so much for the question. You said, you've taken basic demographic information only. Okay, so that's for me a big deal itself, because what is demography? Let's for people who don't understand this word, let's start with that. That is, in my own little definition, it is age. Okay, the age of the person, precise age, not a range, but a precise age. It could be 10 years old, 15 years old, 25 years old, 45 years old, 85 years old, whatever. So age, it had to be precise. Then the gender. Okay, that information is also important for whom we are tracking, because with gender, when you change it, who is going through will make a big difference on what the product or service can do. Okay, and then the third is the geographic location, the exact place where they are in, because what is true for people in one part of the world is very different from people from another part of the world. Refer to the case study that I've covered in the video. This Professor John Arnold, he's talked about an extraterrestrial being whom we are going to design products for. So think about that kind of a situation where people are completely different from us. So we know people of a certain height, build. We assume so many things about them, but the whole idea behind the demography is to imagine ourselves who are very, very unlike us. Okay, that's a big deal for me. You can, to my mind, in my opinion, calling that just demographic information is actually a huge thing by itself. Okay, so to answer it, will it be enough? My emphatic answer is yes, of course. Okay, and then we add many such layers to it. So, for example, Siddharth used a college student. He also used a school-going student. To me, that itself is two completely different persona. What motivates them, what brings them down, what everything is completely different. And we're just talking about two, same city, completely different use cases. And so the products and the features that you want, the solutions that you want are completely different. Okay, so the what you need for them, what is it that they're going through, what is their experience look like, and where they need help is going to be very, very different itself. There may be commonalities, but to me, those are important starting points. And if you can, again, what I talked about earlier, if you can make a tiny bit of a difference, this is going to make a huge difference for them. For us, it'll be just a tweak in a feature, tweak there, a tweak here, but it's going to make a big difference for them. Okay, so again, agreed. This is only three parameters: age, gender, and geography. If you want to add a profession, if you want to add a particular upbringing, you can add layers to it. But to me, these three are bare minimum, basic. You start with this, you can go ahead and create products. That itself, to them, it's a big deal, big deal for them. That's what I would think. But you can create as many personas as you want. There's no limit to the number of personas we have. We want to. In fact, one of the projects, I think we created close to 12 personas: a chef, a manager, an artist, a student, and a whole bunch. So we created all of them, their journeys. It was a lot of work, but we understood so many insights came out of that our product got really rich. Our service also got really rich. Thinking about all these features, we could give it to them, and it really made a difference to them. Okay, so demography, according to me, is a big deal, and you have to take it very seriously, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Bala sir. If I may add a small point to it, considering the case study, what we've done in our videos for a college-going student, demography with respect to geography today is completely different, considering the COVID situation for a college student. Undergraduate student who's studying in Maharashtra is still attending online classes, whereas an undergraduate student somewhere in Andhra, where I am right now, is attending college, is going to college and sort of attending classes in an offline mode, which is very conventional previously. So if we want to solve a note-taking problem for a student or a college-going student in Maharashtra would be completely different from a college-going student here in Visakhapatnam, where I am right now. And similarly, if the rules and regulations are very different in few Western countries and European countries as well. In that sense, demography also adds a lot of personas for the same person, for the same customer, if I may call it, as a college-going student. So that way, the demography is a huge pocket. We are looking at a huge pocket of customers when we say college students from different geographies itself. So that is a small point I wanted to add to your answer, also. All right. Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar, for the question, and thank you, Robert. Moving on to our next question comes from Dr. Satyam, and he asks, what is the role of personas in design thinking, with few examples?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Satyam. Interesting question. It's sort of an add-on to our earlier question itself, which is the earlier question was, you think demography is enough to in the persona to justify enough products and solutions? So then we can back up a bit. Personas are essentially to think about a typical user journey of them using a product or a service. Okay, we use services and products all around, right? So we have phones, we have computers, we have cameras, we have keyboard, mouse, we have water bottles, chairs. All these are product or services like teaching and hairdressing, and all these are services as well. So each of these, let's say you are a customer for each of these services and products. Okay, so there are many people like you, very similar in profile like you in your particular geography, who go to these. So we try to see what is your journey look like, what is your journey look like. Okay, so but let's say we are talking about, for example, we are talking about a 10-year-old boy who wants to visit a hair salon. Okay, so 10-year-old hair salon, a 10-year-old going to a hair salon, a boy going to a hair salon. He finds that when he enters, there's a glass door and he can't push it. Okay, so that's one straight away there. So he needs his parents to push the glass door for him. And then once he enters, he finds that the chair is too high. Okay, and now he needs a prop. So he's made to sit on a prop. And then the scissors and the machine that they use for hairdressing is designed for adults, and hence causes a lot of pain and anxiety as well. Okay, the whole wrapping experience and all that is very, very jarring for this boy. Okay, so we are trying to look at it from that boy's point of view, 10-year-old boy, and let's say he's in Pune. Okay, so that's the geography part of it. Maybe it's a different experience in Mumbai or in Chennai. This 10-year-old boy may have a different experience. Maybe there the chairs are not that high, or maybe the chairs are even higher than here in Pune, right? So there the local variations start. Maybe they don't have a glass door. Maybe they have a law against glass doors, that they have only doors that can be opened automatically. Who knows? In other countries, they have doors that can open automatically. So now the whole geography is also brought in. So with one persona, we have tried to understand. Now substitute that persona with a 35-year-old male, then in the same hairdressing salon meant for men. So that's why it's a male again. And you see that the difference in experience, right? So the problems may be completely different that that they are facing. So we use these personas. Now we can keep talking to many 35-year-olds, 34-year-olds, and document their experiences and collate all of that into what we call a persona. That's a fictional person who will guide us through the entire experience. Now, what I told you was one experience. Maybe if you talk to other people, observe other people, their experience may be different, right? So some people may be tall, they find it difficult. Some people may be short, they may find it difficult. All that is what we capture in our personas. Then we try to illustrate that, their experience, and find out in the customer journey mapping what is that where they are very happy. So we find out as is situation. So where are they happy, where are they sad, and what is their experience. We try to understand and feel what they understand, what they are going through, what their experience looks like. Put ourselves in their shoes. Whose shoes? The persona's shoes. Okay, so that question is answered by the persona. To get back, so I gave you two examples with a hair salon as the example. Okay, so I hope this clarifies some of it. We can go over as many examples as you want. So feel free to put your, if you want more examples, put it in the discussion forum, and we will be happy to extend our examples. We can give as many as you want in your particular domain.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Satyam, and thank you, Bala sir. Our next question comes from Sonia. And she asks, design thinking process is about empathize, analyze, solve, and test. Sometimes in order to make the outcome, which is product or service, deliverable as per customer expectations, adapting design thinking approach leads to correcting of processes, steps involved, rectifying errors in the design. With the fast changing world where emphasis is given to timely delivery aspects like deadlines, how can we change the mindset change the culture to make it more open to embrace the design thinking approach, which is undoubtedly significant and proven best for reaching the customer nirvana, or utmost happiness.
Awesome question, Sonia. Thank you so much for that. You've given a lot of thought to design thinking and the entire process of in the product delivery chain and the whole thing, the service delivery chain itself. Very nice. Thank you so much. So yes, you're right in one sense that the process doesn't change a whole lot, whether it is fast-paced or slow-paced or very slow-paced, evolutionary level slow-paced, or it's going at neck break speed of technology in delivering results and all that. I feel that it doesn't change. The process doesn't change now, but the expectations can change. Oftentimes I'm asked by students to immediately respond to their emails when they have a question. I'm expected to, in some cases, they wait. In some cases, they send another follow-up email saying, where are my answers? I asked a question, where are my answers? Okay. So now, if you are a true proponent of design thinking, you'll see why is this person in such a hurry, right? So why is that, or a project, if you're in a project, your customer or the next in line, say you're a developer, software developer, your tester is going to ask for your code. The tester is going to ask for your code as quickly as possible, or the product manager is going to ask for the code to be delivered or the product to be delivered as quickly as they want it, and they would set a deadline. It's really sometimes very annoying even. Okay. Now, the reason, so you put yourself in their shoes and see why is it that they're asking such a question? Why are they making such demands from you? For you, it seems unreasonable. You already planned it out. You know exactly what you're doing. You have everything planned out. You've already communicated in many cases. You would have told them that. They would have even missed those things, right? Like, I'm just assuming lots of things, okay? Now, think about that. So, they want it as quickly as they want. What is the reason? Try to put yourself in the shoes on finding out why is it that they are in such a hurry? Why is it that they want? And there will be some solid reasons, some backing, some concrete reasons behind that. Try to unearth that. Try to find that out. And that, so I'm going to give you a touchy-feely answer. Okay, there's no process methodological answer, but empathize. That's like the cornerstone of our methodology. So try to imagine yourself as to why they want this. Their anticipation is very high. Their expectation is very high. So how might we satisfy that? How might we bring that change in expectation? How might we manage those expectations? Okay, these are all things that govern our question, our behavior, or govern our product, or way we deliver our products and services. In how many cycles do I apply the EAST method, empathize, analyze, solve, and test? How fast do I do that? Is all dependent on the receiving part of it. If they're a customer, what is it that they want quickly out of it? Why is it that they're in such a hurry? All these will govern us trying to deliver this. Now, you might wonder also, in NPTEL, we have 3 live sessions, right? So 2 of them, we found out that is when you're ramping up. Many of you are warming up to the idea of design thinking, a process-oriented approach to product and service development. So we realized after our interaction with people on the forums that people want the most help in the first stages. Okay, they're ramping up. They need the most help. Okay. Now, I wouldn't have been able to find that out if I had not paid any attention to and not put myself in your shoes, okay, in the learner's shoes. So Siddharth and I actually have enrolled as students also, and we're looking at the whole thing from your perspective as well. And we receive every communication that goes as a learner, and trying to see, put ourselves and try our best to figure out what is it that's going on. So we decided that these 2 live sessions make sense. But then people who are taking exams, their mindset seems to be that, hey, I'm going to take an exam and I need some help. So we decided to put one towards the end or towards the end of the live session as well. So here we're trying to match the customer expectation and trying to see if we can address that. Now we may be successful, we may not be successful, but our attempt is on. Our feedback ears are open, and we try to get as much information as possible so that we can take corrective action on that. Sometimes the customers come back and say, "Hey, it was too rushed. This was like this. It was like that." And then we make note of it and we try to bring in those changes, right? So it's about how well are you listening and how well are you absorbing and how well are you observing your customer and why they make these demands on you. That will give us good insight into how to manage these expectations. Okay. And hopefully, yeah, you're right. It's ultimately we want to reach the whole customer nirvana or utmost happiness, because once we understand that, we're able to manage it very well. The companies which do this very well, the organizations which do this manage customer expectations very well, seem to do very well in the acceptance of the products and services as well. So seems to be a direct correlation. Okay, thank you so much for the interesting question. If somehow, again, I keep repeating this, but if somehow we have addressed or answered a completely different question of yours, so you had something in mind and we have addressed or answered something else, please do let us know in the user forum, the discussion forum. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So, next question comes from Udit, and he has two questions. First one is from a career perspective again. Can we approach design thinking as an area of work as an independent consultant? Any credible certifications we have that are recognized nationally or globally in this domain? Any ideal professions that naturally progress better or are preferred in order to be a design thinking consultant? A follow-up question is, following from the above question and considering design thinking is a relatively new field gaining wide acceptance and exposure, how important is it to be part of an industry with expertise and then apply design thinking to situations? Example, if I am a banker and who have no clue about, say, the FMCG industry, but I am damn good at applying design thinking, how will that pan out if I work on a FMCG project? How critical is it to have an in-depth knowledge of FMCG sector?
Okay. Thank you so much, Udit, for the question. Very involved question. Let's see. Let me try my best to answer this. Okay. As a career prospect, design thinking consultancy is one of the natural areas that you could pick up. If you're taking design thinking itself as your sort of specialization, you want to help them, help with different organizations about help them apply design thinking in their work, in their designing their products, coming up with ideas, helping them shape up that, helping them with interacting with customers. Yes, definitely design thinking consultancy is something that you can pick up, and as an independent consultant as well. So any credible certifications you ask? Okay. I'm not 100% sure if there is a design thinking body per se which awards these certifications that you can take and go and say that, hey, since I am certified with this, you should think about hiring me as a consultant. That is one way to do it, show certifications and do that. I am not sure, but one of the, of course, key certificates that we as a body can give you from NPTEL stroke IIT Madras is our own course certificate. If you pass the exam, you definitely get a certificate at the end. Following that, we do have an online our workshop. We try to have it face to face. If there are travel restrictions and we can't move to a physical place, we try to have it online, like how we had it in June. Okay, so we can you can use that also. But in my mind, I don't have any design thinking certifications per se. Okay, per se, but I have a lot of experience applying design thinking in different areas, helping different companies, organizations apply design thinking in their own work. To me, this is far more important and far more credible compared to the certifications alone. Certifications probably will get a foot in the door if there is one. I don't know if there are many colleges and many organizations around the world which offer certificates of completion of design thinking courses, but I don't know if they really give you certifications. Okay. IDEO.org has a design thinking course that I have taken. It's really good. I would vouch for it. Coursera has Professor Carl Ulrich, who has a design course, excellent course, online again. And I really liked the course when I took it. And there are a whole bunch of courses. These are the two that come to my mind. But the key in this is to take that next step, do it yourself, apply this method on a project that you care about and gain experience. And when you're consulting, you can talk from experience and not from some courses alone. Okay, courses will give you information, will make sure that you understand the concepts, but application will help you talk about it very confidently as well. Okay, so Siddharth applied this process in his company to make the product much better and understand his customers even better. So now we can go anywhere and talk about his experience using applying design thinking, that he has done it successfully over and over again, right? So that is the approach that all of us here at NPTEL would highly recommend, that you take many projects, as many projects, touch to refer to, was it Govind who asked that I want to touch human lives? Touch as many human lives as you can with your project experience, with your products, your services, if you can inspire somebody, that is going to stay, and that is going to want to ask somebody. They'll come back to you and say, hey, can you help us with applying design thinking? I saw your lovely case and then you talked about it that day. Can you help us as well? So that sort of leads, and if you plan to be an independent consultant, one thing will lead to the other. They will see that, hey, you work for X, I would like a company Y would also come and ask you, saying, you did this for X, can you do this for us as well? So that's how, in my opinion, it works. I am not a big fan of certification. So that's what I had to say. Now let's look at the follow-up question is, I guess I can sum it up as, do you need in-depth experience in a particular topic, or can I just be a generalist? The answer is the ideal personality, they say, is the T-shaped personality. What do I mean by T-shaped personality? You don't have to look like a T. Basically, you go deep into one area and know a little bit about many other areas. Okay, so your exposure is there in some other area fields, but you are considered an expert in one particular area. Okay, now how does that help? Is you can crisscross and find out. So in fact, a lot of times it helps to be naive about the field. Okay, if you don't know much about banking, you'll probably come with some totally independent observations of how a bank is operating. Okay, you may not understand all the details of how the bank works and all the processes in there. So you may ask some questions that they have never thought of. They just assumed it was the case, and that's often the case with customers. Okay, they don't know, many of them, including us, as when we are customers, we don't know why we do certain things, and until somebody turns around and asks us, why did you do that? Okay, so I feel that lots and lots of times in-depth knowledge actually comes in the way of doing a good design thinking because in the empathize you should have your ears, eyes open to and heart to your customer, right? So once you open it, you will really get to know what they are you will understand and feel what they're going through. Okay, this is what we want in empathize. We don't want your knowledge and suddenly coming and saying you should have done that. That's no good for our customer. We really want, and they get defensive and they start doing stuff and explaining. That's not what we want. We want to really get to know their unsaid and latent needs. So in-depth knowledge usually comes in the way of empathy. However, I'm going to reverse all of that in the analysis phase. In the analysis phase, you can reason only up to a certain step what the real root cause is. And here you need analysts to the in-depth knowledge people to come and certify and validate whether what you're reasoning out is correct or not. And they may even give you some more reasons to find out why is certain things going on the way they're going on. Right? So this is where you will need experts who will validate what you're thinking and maybe even add to what you're saying. So that time you need banking experts to say, yes, we do this process because we have this deadline to meet or that thing to do, or this is coming in the way. These are the constraints I have. And you get the perspective of the bank now. We saw what the customer is going through, but do we know what the bank is also going through? That's what conflict of interest is all about. And that's where we need analysts. We need real people with very in-depth knowledge. And there it could come in really handy. Okay. So sort of we need, so it may not be in the same person. You can have a team. I always say that design thinking is a team sport because there are so many people coming together. They give all their expertise, and that adds on to this whole thing, right? To giving different perspectives of the same project. So thank you so much again, Udit, for that question.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Lakshay. He says, I'm on the analysis module and have started practicing the 3 questions which Professor Bala gave at the end of lecture 3. I'm able to do 5-why analysis but don't know where to redirect the chain so as to create a closed loop that could help me in the business context. Also, what should be the deciding factor on the XY axis of the plot graph? What should be the dividing point of the conflict interest analysis step? I mean, similar to the hand touch point in the Taylor Musketeer example, what should be my deciding points based on which I can branch my conflict interest chart?
Wow, this is a loaded question. There are 2 parts to this, clearly 2 parts in this question, or many actually, but at least we'll take it as 2. So the first part of it is regarding the multi-why tool of thinking. How do I deal with this branching and something called a closed loop? I don't know what this closed loop in ours is. It's multi-why is not a loop per se. It is actually a branched sort of thing. May I use the board?
Yes.
Yeah, I will try to use the board, whiteboard. Okay. So, yeah. So in multi-whys, what we do is say we have the how might we, as we call it, the question from the problems from the analysis. I'm sorry, from the empathize. From empathize, we have a basic question. Okay. Now, after that, we ask the question why. Okay, we do this and we get to the answer. Okay, like what Lakshay is saying, it may not be so simple as to just getting one. This is one question. This is the why question. Okay, I'm going to represent it with Y, the letter Y, and you will get an answer here. Okay. Now, it may not be so simple the case. We may actually find that there is another answer to the same question. Okay. So that is the answer. So you'll have 2 reasons for this question. Okay. So why did the student not pay attention in class? Well, he found the teacher to be going too fast. That is one reason. And the seat was very uncomfortable. Okay, that's another reason why he is not paying attention. If the seat is not comfortable, he's going to keep fidgeting and is going to be paying more attention to the chair than to the teacher. Okay, so let's say we found that out. Now we can go this route of why is the chair so uncomfortable, or why is this teacher going so fast. Okay, so in that we'll get an answer saying the chair is 20 years old, they haven't replaced it. And in the case of teacher, the syllabus that we have followed all across there, right? So that is the point. We can keep going there. So the teacher is going fast because there's too much to cover in one term or one semester. Why is the chair 20-year-old chair still there in the school? Well, because it's the policy of the school to not change. They only change it every 20 years. I'm just making up a hypothetical school which does that. Okay, that they have a policy, school written policy, that only to every 20 years they're going to change the furniture. Okay. Here it is because the it comes to the school. So this is school says no, you have to finish everything within that term. They have dictated that, right? So there's no loop to this. Here we have a how might we change the policy from 20 years to say 15 years, so that now we can see that, so that we can address the question of the child getting distracted at class, and how might we change the syllabus so that the teacher gets more time to dwell on each topic, so that she doesn't have to hurry hurry very fast in the syllabus, and that will address the kid getting distracted, the child getting distracted also. Okay, so the same why, but multiple reasons. Again, here also, here is the interesting part. We may not just have one answer here as well. We may have multiple answers or as well. Okay, pardon my poor A here, but there could be multiple answers here as well in each, and they may form, others chain of answers here as well, and you can keep going. So you'll find that what you're doing in all this complicated answering and questioning is you understand not only one perspective of the child alone, but you found the perspective of the teacher, of the school, of the curriculum, of the administration, of how the school is working, all just through series of questions. And I haven't moved an inch from where I was, right? I figured out so many things about the school, the teacher, the student, and all that, right? So that's what we are after in analysis. We are trying to find out as much as possible, as much information as possible about the school, very, very methodologically, okay, methodically. Okay, and here's the neat part is if you try to solve this, okay, let me use another color here. So if we try and solve this answer here, we actually can, and we frame a question, we can actually address the question itself. It sort of improves our efficiency of problem solving itself. So we can go here and solve it as well, and from here and solve it as well. Okay, so that's the neat part. Now it actually naturally translates to the second question, which is how do I determine what is the conflict of interest and what is the dividing point there. Okay, now let's say here is the teacher. Let me use another color. Okay, so here is the teacher's perspective. Here was the school's perspective, right? So we have different players now. That is the key part in this. So, and here is the, let's say C represents the child, teacher, child, and this is the school, right? So the teacher is at conflict with the child, and here the school is at conflict with the child. Okay, now what is the dividing point? The dividing point is the age of the chair, right? So the age of the chair was too old, and so the child was very uncomfortable. If the school replaces the chair before 20 years, it'll make the child very comfortable. Okay, that at least that part of distraction we have solved it. But by doing so, they have violated a policy, right? Of the fact that my hypothetical policy that after 20 years is when they usually replace a chair, right? So the point of contention is the age of the chair. Okay, let me get fancier and let me use another color, blue. Okay, this blue. All right. So after 20 years, let's say the age of the chair is when age of the chair is the point of contention. It's the same blue. Okay, never mind. Is age of the chair which is the point of contention, right? If at 20 years itself they replace it, then it satisfies the school but not the child, because it's very noisy and makes the child's life uncomfortable. But if we remove it before 20 years, then the child is comfortable, but the school is violating a policy. So the age is the point of split, so to speak. So how do we reason that out? Okay, or here in case this was the speed of teaching, right? That's the variable that we have in mind. Let me speed of teaching. That's what we covered in the video. So the speed of teaching was the variable that could be changed. So one way to help us figure out the in-between split point, as he called it, is called the variable. Okay, let me clear this. So the question to ask is, who or where is the problem? Okay, so who or where is the problem will determine one of the boxes, the first box. Okay, so who or where is the problem? So it is the child or it is the chair. You can start with that. And what seems to be the problem is the next part. Oops. Hey. Okay, there you go. Okay, what seems to be the problem could be something that we want to vary. Okay, so it was the age or the speed. So what was the problem like look like? Let's see if I can put it in here. Okay, and then you can look at what are the values that we have changed to this. And so it will tell you what the two different values are and the consequences because of that. So the value one high and one low. Okay, and finally, so we can say this is the positive and this is, oh no, wait a second, we're not there yet. This is the high and the low. Okay, high and the low, let's say our different contrasting values. Okay, and then we get the boxes of the consequences of our choice. Okay, consequences of our choice. Okay, and that is good. This is good, and this is wrong. This is bad. Oh, my arrows went all over the place, but you get the idea. Okay, so this is how we build the whole conflict of interest chart. Okay, so who or where is the problem? What is the problem? What values can we vary it into? What goes well because of our choice of one of the values, high value, let's say, and what goes wrong because of that choice, and the exact opposite value we choose, and something went right because of that, but something went wrong as a result of that. Okay, so this is a conflict of interest itself. So what is the problem will be the answer to your question. All right, so that was my long and broad answer to your question.
Thank you, Lakshya, for such an interesting question. And also thank you, Bala sir, for your pictorial elaboration. Moving on to our next question is from Sovic. And the question is, in the analyze phase, how can we know that at which level of multi-Y analysis we need to focus to solve the problem? And the second part of the question is there any possibility that there can be more than two parties in a conflict? In that case, how to decide the actions and desired outcomes?
Okay, excellent question, Souvik. Thank you so much for the question. the first part of the first question is what can you change? It totally depends on the team or the design thinker who is attempting to solve the problem. At what level we can attempt to change the skill that I have is going to determine at what level do we stop. Okay. And you can go with the analysis, but the level at which we pick usually depends on the skill set or what you choose or what you have the skill to change and your ability to change. Excuse me. Okay, so that is going to determine at what level. But the analysis can go on because we want to understand at a broader level. So lots of times the limit we have is administrative limit or legal limits or physical natural limits. Those are the ultimate limits in which we stop. Okay, but if you reach that point and say if you're an administrator and you can bring about change at an administration level, then you would operate at that level. Say you can't do that, then step back a bit and see where at what level can you make that difference. So it's about action. So compassion is empathy plus action. So what we are doing for our customers, our users, is something that we can take action on, right? Remember that the fourth noble truth was marga. So you have to take action and start walking on the path to end the suffering of our customer once and for all. So that's what we are doing. So we are taking action, and what can I do? What can our team do? And that we can make that change. So you can stop at that level of the multi-why and take action on that. Then you can start focusing on that problem to solve. Excellent question. Okay, that's for the first part, I suppose. The second part is, yes, you're absolutely right. There needn't be just two parties, but there could be as many as it takes. In fact, in the conflict of interest diagram that the multi-why diagram that I drew a few minutes ago, I talked about school and teacher and the child, right? But when I considered the problem, I considered only two at a time. Why? Very, very simple reason. Or neurological limitation. Okay, so apparently while making decisions we can only take that's our limitation, that we can only take a decision between two parties. Probably why we have in many of the sports we have only two people competing against each other, because when a third one comes we don't know, we all get confused. So the fact that that's our limitation. So if we want to analyze some problem very, very well, and we want to know both we want to know the problem extremely well, we want to analyze it very well, then we consider two parties at a time. Okay, that's the only reason why we choose only two parties at one time. So you can choose child versus school, child versus teacher, teacher versus school. You can consider each of that, like your cricket or football matches. We take two at a time and try to solve and try to understand the problem from that perspective. Okay, in that case, how to decide the action and the desired outcome. Okay, so the action and the desired outcome. In that case, as in if there are more than two parties involved, you cannot. It becomes extremely complex. In fact, even to try to solve more than just two itself is going to be a challenge. But however, I have this trick that you will counter this two-party limitation is when you consider, say, the child and the teacher, and you get to this desired result of two things, write those down as something that you want to achieve. Okay, so I want the syllabus to be less than what it takes to in one term. Okay, that's one criteria. I want the syllabus to be covered in I want the syllabus to be fun, let's say, from the student perspective. Okay, now when you go to the chair problem, it could be I want the chairs to be less than 20 years old, so I've added that also. Suddenly the problem has many more conditions to be solved. We are not only talking about the syllabus problem, we are also talking about the furniture, the infrastructure, the whole thing. It comes as a solution from various directions. And you can keep adding to this list, and when you get into solve, your solution becomes a lot richer, and your product has a lot of features built in that you can make the, in case you can't solve the getting the new furniture, you can make them stand up and do lots of activities. Why the student has to sit for the whole day? Why can't you make them run around? Why can't you swap places? You can do so many other cool things with that. So now, since I put down the condition that I cannot change the furniture, okay, so then it becomes really interesting what you come up with as solutions itself. Okay, so that's what we can do to make, and that's an ever-growing list. The more you understand about the problem, your feature list is going to keep increasing. So that's how we handle this stuff about multiple outcomes, multiple multiple desired results. Okay, thanks Savik again for the questions.
Oh, thank you, Sovic. All right, we just received a request from NPTEL asking us to possibly close the session 3-4 minutes before 5
Okay.
o'clock.
Okay, do that.
They have another proctor meeting set up at 5 p.m. So
Okay. So that's our constraint. So we have to abide by that.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
let's do that then.
and I think that was the last question for the day as well.
Oh, excellent. So thank you, folks. Thank you, Siddharth, for guiding us through the questions, and thank you, folks, for listening in, and people who are watching the recorded session. Thank you so much for your attention. If there are further questions, please let us know via our discussion forum, and we'll see you in the last and final live session close to your exams
on 17th of September.
Okay, see you, folks. Bye everyone. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Balaji.